we welcome out of the engineering faculty at the University of the West Indies, lecturer Dr. Graham King, part of the esteemed panel who will be judging some of the amazing innovation and technology coming forward for the Energy Conference next week. It happens from next Tuesday to Thursday at the Hyatt Regency. Dr. King, good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Jason. How are you?
All is well. I mean, this is quite an exciting addition to the conference is the inaugural Innovation and Technology Challenge. Yourself alongside your esteemed panel of judges will partake. I heard it boiled down now to about 4. It kind of narrowed down to 4. I guess you probably would have an idea. Have you seen some of the entries thus far, or you're going to see it come next week?
Yeah, well, the process, just to give a bit of context to the Innovation Challenge. So in the conference, the Energy Conference next week, as you said, there's this extra element which has been introduced for the first time, which is called the Innovation Challenge. And we invited companies to submit things that they've done, well, not just companies, also individuals and basically anybody who has a sort of good innovation in the field of energy or related topics. We got a good number of submissions into this challenge because we wanted to showcase what's really happening around the region in the energy sector, and also give the opportunity for innovators to be able to showcase their what they're doing, and businesses in, say, in the energy services sector that supports a lot of the energy activity, to show all the new things they're doing and the innovations they're coming up with. So we had about 18 or 20 submissions, very high quality submissions, and we're down to 5. We've seen the 5, the judges selected the 5 that would go proceed to be able to present in the Energy Conference next week. So what happens in the Energy Conference is basically these 5 finalists will have the opportunity to pitch to the audience in the Energy Conference, and the audience will then vote on which they like best. So it comes down to a very democratic system at the end. In the conference, the participants will get to vote and select what they think are the most impactful innovations.
Oh, so you're getting everybody involved, because I thought it really came down to your decision alongside your colleagues, the head judges, more or less. So this is where they get a chance to pitch their idea, and everyone in the conference will, one man, one woman, one vote.
Absolutely, 1 man, 1 woman, 1 vote. So it really gives another interesting element. They're not just presenting their written submission, an additional element, but they're actually having to do the pitching part of it to try and persuade, the audience how good their idea is and that they're worthy of winning the grand title of, the top innovation in the energy sector for this year.
Interesting. Are you taken aback by some of the submissions? Were you blown away with some of the innovation and technology these companies and individuals brought to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with the quality of the submissions and the type of submissions. So I've judged quite a few of these kind of innovation competitions before. And the thing that stood out about this one is that the entries really came from, I would say for a start, they're much more developed than ones I've seen in previous competitions like this. The ideas in this case mostly are implemented already. So it's entrants submitting things that they're doing, as opposed to just ideas that they have that they think could work. So the maturity of the ideas that were submitted, this maturity of innovations was much greater than other competitions I've participated in as a judge. And also I think a lot more of the ideas and innovations came from the private sector, from the business community. So it's really companies, in many cases, not across the board, but in many cases, companies putting forward the things that are happening on a routine basis, or the ideas they've come up with, the innovations they've implemented to overcome specific challenges. So I was really impressed with the quality and the potential impact of some of these. Just to give you an example, so one from a local energy services company was to be able to facilitate something called enhanced oil recovery through the delivery of carbon dioxide to all these sites sort of in the land-based oil producing areas of Trinidad and Tobago, to allow for oil oil to be recovered more easily. One of the challenges is you can use carbon dioxide and pump it back into the oil wells. That improves the yield of those wells, but it also allows some carbon dioxide to be stored and captured. So this is a big deal because, of course, a lot of the concern is around sort of carbon release, and we want to try and minimize that. So this has a win-win, a good example of a local company innovating there. Another entry looks at use of enzymes, microbes that can be used to clean oil tanks and oil pipelines. The benefit of this is that instead of using toxic chemicals to sort of clean these facilities, you could use enzymes, a biological solution, enzymes that are indigenous to Trinidad and Tobago. So that's actually one from IWI, I must say. Some of my colleagues working on that. So there's some great ideas, really exciting innovations.
I want to find out, Dr. King, what's in store for the winner? Obviously, when the democratic process is over and a winner is announced on the second day of this conference, what's in store? I mean, other than obviously bragging rights, what is the real tangible prize at the end of this particular competition and challenge?
Well, Jason, in this case, a lot of these competitions give bits of money or financing, but in this case, it's really just about the bragging rights. But I think what I would say about that is that it's so important for innovators and for companies that are engaged in innovation, for that innovation to be seen and profiled. And the Energy Conference is a tremendous platform where the whole sector is represented. So the bragging rights are very high value in this case. So it's just really about the bragging rights. But I would also say that what it does, and this is why I think the competitions of particular value, is that we need to, the future is very different to the past. So change is a reality for everybody in the energy sector. We're going through some massive transitions where we're moving to a low carbon energy system around the world called the energy transition. We're moving towards digital transformation where processes are being done in a different way. So everybody has to innovate. Everybody has to have the capacity to do things differently. So this is also about engendering a spirit of innovation in our region, which is absolutely critical for our ability to diversify our economy and to grow our economy and sustain our economy into the future.
And in that regard, when you look at the local framework and even the regional setup, from your office, from your perspective, from where you sit, and of course you do lectures and interact with young people, is the climate conducive? Are there programs in place to really encourage future innovators and inventors?
So I would say historically we're weak in the region in terms of our capacity to innovate. And again, that's why competitions like this are very important. We're weak because in order to have, in order to really sort of innovate, bring new ideas and implement them, to especially bring new products to the market, there are factors that have to be in place and what we call like an innovation ecosystem. So you need to create an environment, a social, economic, knowledge-based environment that allows new ideas. If you think of a new idea as a seed, we have that show, Planting Seeds. So, if an innovation is a seed which is planted, or a new business is a seed that's planted, you have to have an environment that allows that seed to grow. And we've historically not had that environment. There are lots of things you need in there. You need financial capital, you need risk propensity, so people willing to take risks on things. You need access to markets, you need mentalities, you need facilities, and a lot of these things we haven't had. And so I think developing that innovation ecosystem is absolutely important. So one of the things that you need, and I think possibly the most important factor to facilitate innovation, is confidence. And confidence is, I always describe innovation as a faith-based activity. You tend to, when you come up with a new idea or you want to do something differently, you don't know whether it's going to work. You believe it is, and on the basis of your belief, you put money into it, you put energy, you put time into it to make this new thing happen.
You take a chance. Yeah, you take a chance, well said. And the reality is, as we look to wrap things up, you mentioned diversification earlier on. Do you think that if indeed we really put our money where our mouth and where our heart is and where our vision is, we can use innovation and technology as a major tool to diversify our economy. I mean, obviously, energy conference, it's a big one. We are based on our energy. We are pegged to energy and gas and all that. But can we use the same innovation and probably pivot away from that at some point in time?
I think we have to pivot to the new energy future. Otherwise, we're just going to be dead in the water. That transition is happening very aggressively. And so I absolutely think innovation is the core element in diversification. And throughout the years, we've spoken in this country and in the region about the importance of diversifying, because it's oil and gas in Trinidad and Tobago and now Guyana, but it's tourism across the rest of the Caribbean. And in a sense, they're both in the same boat, very reliant on one industry. And we talk about diversification, but you can't do diversification in a vacuum. You have to, like I said, create this innovation ecosystem, build confidence, and innovate our way into the future. And so I think that's something which we have to keep pushing. And this competition, what I like about it is it builds confidence because we're profiling and showing stories about what is being done, what can be done in our environment, and how we can really, have cutting edge, like not just regionally, but globally, cutting edge solutions that come out of our region and make a huge difference to our global competitiveness. And that's absolutely what we need going forward for diversification.
Dr. Graham King, thank you so much for the perspective this morning. Have yourself a good one. Probably I would see you next week because we're coming down to do some coverage of the conference next week.
All right. Great. Thank you, Jason. Look forward to that.
All the best. That's the lecturer there in the engineering faculty at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Graham King. Big conference next week at Hyatt. It should be very, very interesting. Listen, we come back after the break. Social media details, something to think about, and the ever-popular birthday brew. Stick around.